Ritesh Kotak is a digital and cybersecurity strategist who has worked with Fortune 500 tech companies. Now he finds himself fielding calls from desperate people who have been scammed and just don't know what to do. Ritesh, that must be heartbreaking to hear those stories.
It is heartbreaking, and unfortunately, it's happening more frequently than even one can imagine. I get calls all the time from individuals that have invested their life savings into crypto, thinking that they're going to get some return, and in actuality, turns out it's a fraud, and it really is devastating.
Losing big money. What is the crypto scam that is tricking people the most right now?
There's so many crypto scams right now that is deceiving individuals into putting money into accounts that just don't even exist. What I'm seeing is social media posts convincing people to invest some of their money. They end up investing it on platforms. They get a login, they have a crypto wallet, they put in real money, they transfer real money from their bank account into these wallets. And all of a sudden on the platform, they start seeing all these incredible returns. My $100,000 is now worth $150,000, and that number just keeps going up. They start putting more money into it, even more money, only to find out when they try to take that money out and convert that back into whatever type of currency, that's when they realize that money doesn't exist.
So the investment schemes seem to be on social media are the biggest problem.
Yeah, the investment schemes are definitely in overdrive, and there is an element of deep fakes and artificial intelligence that's playing into it. You just got to scroll through your social media feed, and there'll be some celebrity or some anchor that's promoting a particular type of crypto investment. It might even look like a newscast,
right?
But in actuality, it is a deep fake. It's created by these fraudsters, and it's created to deceive individuals.
I hear a lot about pump and dump schemes. What is that?
A pump and dump scheme is literally, you got to remember, the value of these cryptos is based on numerous factors. One of those factors being demand for that particular crypto.
Okay.
So or the particular investment. So what happens is you end up buying an investment, and the pump is just as you're buying it, it's somebody saying, this is a great investment, put money into this, put money into this. In actuality, it is not. And what you realize, and there's been some very famous cases when it comes to pump and dump scams, is they pump up the price, and before you're able to do anything about it, they've dumped their investments, they've cashed it out, the price of that investment completely drops, and you're out thousands, if not millions of dollars.
It's wild. It's wild. I think probably the most popular one, Haley Welch, happened recently. People might know her as the Hawk Tuah girl that went viral online. Her Hawk digital coin hit a 490 million market cap shortly after it launched. Hours later, more than 95% of its value vanished.
Poof.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it was
so
gone.
much money for people that are putting money in. I want to ask, because you brought up the crypto wallet. You mentioned that. And I think for people just starting to understand crypto, can you break that down for me a little bit more?
Yeah, so look, we have physical wallets where what do we put in there? We put our cards, we put currency in there. But imagine that as residing on your computer, a digital wallet. And that's essentially what crypto is. It's your ability to house different type of cryptocurrency. There's Bitcoins, Litecoins, there's tons of different types of coins that are out there. Well, they need to be housed somewhere. You need to have it in a wallet so you can transact. And that's literally what a crypto wallet is. And there's two types of crypto wallets.
Okay.
There is a hot wallet, which is something that's actually connected, so the wallet connected to the internet. And there's a cold wallet. And a cold wallet is a wallet that's not connected to the internet. It's usually devices that look like USB keys, but on them is essentially a folder. And within that folder is all your cryptocurrency.
Huh. So you need both wallets. Do you need both wallets?
You don't need both wallets.
Okay.
The whole idea of the cold wallet was individuals that wanted to have that extra layer of anonymity.
Okay.
A big issue with that also was the fact that if you lose that key, you've lost your money. There's no way of recovering back that virtual crypto wallet.
It's gone.
It's gone.
So is there a mistake people are doing then in losing those keys? What is it that's happening?
Oh, there's been some very famous cases of people having millions of dollars on these cold wallets only to misplace it. Somebody thinks that, this is a actual USB key, and they end up grouping it in with a bunch of other USB keys. Things have gone missing. Some of these keys have actually broke. So yeah, if that happens, you're out of luck.
Crypto scams are getting more sophisticated, and let's take a look at the latest data from the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre. Here you can see a steady rise in individual losses. 4 years ago, Canadians were scammed out of around $22 million in individual losses. Last year, that jumped to $164 million. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, Ritesh. Some of those frustrated people I know are calling you. What is the common red flag you feel like people are missing here?
So first of all, I think that number is grossly underreported. I think when it comes to fraud, a lot of people just, there is a sense of, there's a stigma attached to it, and there's a sense of, how could this happen to me? I'm smarter than that. Look, these hackers and these fraudsters are extremely sophisticated. So I actually think that number is underreported.
Okay.
But that being said, like the biggest red flag for me is, if it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. Like, if you're hearing about returns that are just astronomical, how all these individuals have made money doing a particular investment, you really need to look into it. And they don't make it easy. There's a sense of urgency. It's buy now and you will double your crypto, or buy now or you're going to lose out on these returns. There's pressure tactics with individuals calling you and trying to convince you to put more money into this particular investment, and fake platforms where you're seeing all these numbers just continuously going up. So the biggest red flag is, if it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true.
Yeah, take it easy. Maybe talk to a few people,
Absolutely.
ask some friends, like take that time. Where should you go if you've, found out you've been scammed?
So firstly, if you've been scammed, that is a criminal code offense. Fraud is in the criminal code. So you do want to report that to your local police service. There is an obligation for them to take the report. Reporting is important as well.
But can they actually track that? Like,
So-
I think that's why a lot of people, one is a shame and embarrassment, but I think it's like, what can they actually do?
I don't think it's any surprise or any big secret that law enforcement agencies, when it comes to looking at cyber-related investigations, are under-resourced, understaffed. There's even the complexity factor of this, right? When something new comes out and we learn about it, hackers and fraudsters have been able to exploit it, and law enforcement is always playing catch-up with the latest scams. How do we detect it, and how do we prevent it, and then what do we do to remedy it? Is there a way for us to stop a transaction? Is there a way for us to preserve the evidence? Is there a way to get the money back and make the person whole? These situations are continuously changing. But that being said, that shouldn't negate the fact that you should be reporting it to your local police service for reporting purposes. And there have been some success stories across Canada where law enforcement has been able to seize and freeze crypto assets of individuals known for committing these frauds. And because there was a report on file, individuals were able to get some of their money back.
Some.
Some.
Ritesh, I have 30 seconds here, but President Trump has talked a lot about making the U.S. the crypto capital of the world, bringing in more regulation. Is that what is needed to get these scams under control?
No, and one of the big, clearly we need more regulations when it comes to this area. But the whole idea of crypto is decentralization. And if you're regulating it, it's no longer crypto, it's digital currency, and that falls under a whole other array.
So much to be thinking about. So glad we could have you on the show, Ritesh.
Thank you so much for having me.